Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DualShockers ShockCast. My name is Ryan. Once again, filling in for Lou Cataldi, because apparently this is becoming a trend. Lou's becoming a delinquent, so as a delinquent host. But filling in as the host this week for the ShockCast. So joining us, we've got the ever trustworthy, most of the time, Azario Lopez.
Sometimes I like to sneak in little lies here and there, see if you can catch them.
Exactly, yeah. And then we've got some two new faces joining us this week. We've got Jordan joining us in,
Hey there.
and we got Logan.
Howdy.
All right, so let's see. We'll see if we can break you guys by the end of the episode. We'll just this will just be the Final Fantasy 15 30-hour stream podcast.
Oh, God.
That,
Yeah.
all right. So this week we're mostly just going to be going into what we've been playing and talk about some of the games we've been liking a lot. So who wants to start us off?
I'll start.
All right, Azario, yeah, you can go for it. So what have you been playing?
Well, I have two reviews on the site right now, East Origins and Berserk, and I pledge to never review two games on the same day again, because that is the most work that I've done in a long time. And I was bothering our reviews editor, Lou, the host of the show, not here today, but I was bothering him a lot, so I felt bad. But got those out on embargo, what I like to see. But I actually after I stopped playing them, and I went back to Final Fantasy 15, and fucking love that game.
Because reviewing two games at once wasn't enough, so you needed to go into Final Fantasy 15, right?
Yeah, just to cleanse my spirit. I also have another review coming up next Tuesday that I need to finish by this weekend because I'll be headed to GDC, and I don't know if I can say what I'm reviewing, but it's coming up next Tuesday, so you'll see it anyway.
Cool. Yeah. I could definitely. I think I had to do two. I've done two review weeks a couple times before. I think the worst one that I did, not worst, but like the most strenuous, was I think I had to do Metal Gear and Mad Max when they both came out around the same time. Two giant open world games at the very same time. That was not very fun.
What I've been doing is I've been using my PS Vita as remote play, and I'll just lay in bed, and for a few hours just before I go to sleep, I'll start playing because it's just more comfortable than sitting in front of your TV on a console.
I did the same thing last month when I did Resident Evil and Dragon Quest, because Resident Evil I'd be able to play at home, and then like Dragon Quest, since it was on 3DS, I could just play it when I was like not sitting down on my couch playing that. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so do you want to go into a little bit more detail about either, just give us a little bit about Berserk and Ys? That's how you pronounce it, right?
Okay. YS.
It's got one of those crazy. It's got one of those crazy. It's got one of those crazy Japanese titles I can't pronounce. So,
Ys Origin originally came out in 2006 in Japan for the PC, and Xseed had brought it over in 2012, and Emu, I think they like to say it. They ported it to the PlayStation 4 and coming to the PlayStation Vita. The thing I didn't necessarily like was that they just reused Xseed's localization. They didn't put their own little translations into it, which could have made the game maybe better or worse. I don't know. It just kind of showed a little bit of laziness in that sense. But the game runs great. It looks beautiful. It reminds me, the art style reminds me of a lot of Saga Frontier 2, if you've played that, or Secret of Mana. Yeah, Secret of Mana, definitely. Like that 2D kind of sprite running and just colors everywhere. It's super fast-paced action. Lots of monsters to fight, lots of skills. East games are pretty popular. Getting more and more popular here in the West. NISA just announced Ys 8 coming to PS4 and PS Vita, and yeah, it's a big thing. It's weird that NISA is localizing it and not Xseed, who we're used to, and that's probably a conversation that we could have for a long time, but I won't bore you guys with it.
Sure. And then what about Berserk? How's that been so far?
Berserk's great. It's a beautiful game. Just the actual backgrounds look a little dated, And this is due to the fact that Japan's still developing games for the PS3. I think if you notice that a lot of like Tales of Berseria even got a PS3 port in Japan. Didn't come west though, and I feel like this holds these games back from being how great they can be, and it's a fun Musu game if you like the Dragon Warriors series, but I don't know the anime cutscenes that they used were lifted straight from the trilogy, the Berserk trilogy from the movies, the anime movies, and I kind of wanted them to do something new. I know I'm boring you guys with this Japanese stuff.
Well, I was gonna ask about the gameplay. It's it's Dynasty Warriors basically, right? It's
Yeah,
Muso?
yeah,
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
yeah. It's just the blood looks awesome, and you can turn off the gore if you're not into it. But it fits Berserk like to the T with like how gory it is, and I don't think I've never seen a Musu title this gory before, and kind of fun. I don't know. They just could have made it look better. It got super repetitive even for a Musu title, and I don't know.
How long is it? Out of curiosity.
I played it for 12 hours,
Okay.
and there you can do an endless eclipse mode. There's other modes that you can play, but you can beat it in about 8 to 10 hours, and then after that, the whole thing kind of opens up to you to either replay to 100% certain things or play as different characters for each of the levels and max out your characters that way.
Okay.
So I don't know. I liked it, but they could have did better, and it felt rushed, and I feel like it felt rushed because they wanted it to coincide with the anime that released last
Makes
year,
sense,
and
yeah.
they kind of rushed it out the door because this game was just introduced or just announced last E3.
Yeah, I was gonna say because it wasn't that long since we like heard about it. I feel like
Yeah.
so. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I just hope that since I guess who was it was which developer made this game again?
This was Omega Force, so they're a part of Koei Tecmo.
Okay, and they did the Attack on Titan one too, right?
They did
They
the
did that.
Attack
Yeah,
on Titan
I was
one.
gonna say. Well, I was say because they've been like I feel like they've been doing all these Musou games that are based on these like popular anime. So I'm kind of hoping that the next one they do is something like Yuri on Ice. They do something like really just out. They just I hope they just do something really like, out there and wacky. If they did like the Yuri on Ice Musou, how awesome would that be? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, like, but with Attack on Titan, that's what I wanted out of Berserk because they really spent time with Attack on Titan to make it its own game in the
I think
Musu kind of universe.
Yeah, and I think also with Attack on Titan too, like since that had the whole like kind of swinging mechanic and stuff like that, it had something that was a little bit different from the
That's
regular games. So
yeah.
I guess Berserk maybe seems more like a sort of a traditional Musou game. Because then we've also got there's the Fire Emblem. I think that's all Fire Emblem one that's going to be worked on or coming out at some point. And I played Hyrule Legends last year, which I played on a regular 3DS, which was no bueno compared to the new
Oh
3DS.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it was funny
Like
they
I
actually
played a little.
told you don't play this on on the
Yeah,
regular.
that was the game, but I don't. I was like, dudes, you should have just made this an exclusive to the new 3DS because it ran like 10 frames per second on the regular 3DS. It was just not fun. So, all right, Azario, do you have anything else you want to add about Berserk or Ys or what did you give those games? You gave them both like seven.
East. I gave East Origin an 8.5, and
Oh, okay.
it super deserved it. You can beat the game. You can beat the entire game with two characters in 10 hours.
Oh,
For an
wow.
RPG, I think that's a great amount of time to just get the actual first game in the East timeline. So it leads up into East 1. So if you're thinking about getting East 8 when it comes out, I suggest picking this game up. You can get it for $20 on PSN,
Mm-hmm.
and it's cross-buy, so you can play it on your Vita and PS4. It's great for to tell the beginning story of the East. So I gave it an 8.5, and I gave Berserk a 7, and it's just the dated visuals and they just played it too safe.
Azario, I think your mic is cutting out or something.
Yep.
Cut out?
Yeah, we lost him.
Oh.
Okay. While Zarya's doing that, Jordan, do you want to go ahead and talk about some of the stuff you've been playing?
Sure. So I've been kind of backtracking a little bit, just kind of picking up on some stuff that I missed over the years, more or less.
You picked a good time to do it with Horizon and the Switch coming out.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Great time. There's nothing coming out.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah. So I picked up. I've been meaning to for a really long time, but I picked up Devil May Cry DMC, the remake by Ninja Theory.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
During the most recent flash sale on PSN, and
Nice.
I really like Ninja Theory, and so it's been kind of a missing link for me for a long time. And so I've been messing around with it, and I'm familiar with Devil May Cry series as well. So it's good. It's over the top. Like you can't really take it too seriously. Like that's kind of the point of the whole Devil May Cry series to an extent. But it's kind of a little offensive at times. Like it rubs me the wrong way a little bit here and there. But again, like you just kind of have to roll with it because that's what it is. Other than that, again, speaking of large RPGs that I probably shouldn't be getting into, I a while back played a little bit of The Witcher 3 and just kind of like fell out of it. Like I can't remember if it came out right before or right after Metal Gear Solid 5 came out.
It came out before.
Okay, that makes sense then because
Yeah.
I probably totally dropped that. So I stopped playing it and I tried to pick it back up again and like trying to remember where I was and like how the control scheme.
Yeah, that's not an easy game to do that in.
It was
like yeah.
That was impossible. So I decided to just start over. I wasn't very far into it anyways, and I've been enjoying my time with it a lot more. I've decided I'm going to be playing it like kind of as like a pirate Geralt and just kind of like just go for all the booty. Just like booty in all sense of the term. What was that?
Should I play The Witcher 3?
I don't know. Have you ever played it? Have you played any of the Witchers before?
It has Polish waifus, Azario. You've got Yennefer, you've got Triss. They're like the Polish version of waifus. So
the funny thing is that Japanese games don't usually show boobs. So when I see boobs on a game,
Japanese games show like they basically show you as much of the boob without actually showing you the boob. It's like legally allowed. Like it's like
So when like God of War or like those games show me boobs, I'm just like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know. There's like a striptease in the new Metro, and like you could just sit there and get a striptease dance, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
that's what
am I doing?
That's what we're gonna shift the podcast topic to this week. Is just favorite game stripteases that we've seen in the game. I feel like my favorite. Actually, no. So just to go on a tangent, my favorite one. I don't know if you guys saw. Someone made a parody of the Super Mario Odyssey trailer in GTA 4. I don't know if you've seen that video, but it's hilarious. But basically, there's a scene. They took the scene from GTA 4 when you go in the strip club and you can just watch a stripper. And so it's just Mario sitting there watching a stripper, like giving him a lap dance. It's the funniest thing. It's so funny. Anyway, so I played The Witcher 3 last year and I really enjoyed it a lot. But that was a game I literally spent about 4 months playing like that entire game, like everything, the main game, all the DLC and stuff. So yeah, that is not a game I think that's easy to jump in and out of. Like you kind of have to just binge it. It is great though. Like I love that game from pretty much from start to finish. And I played the previous 2 games before I played Witcher 3, but honestly, I feel like you don't really need to. You can kind of just jump into Witcher 3 without playing the previous ones. So
yeah, another problem that I had with the game back when I started playing it originally was just that it is a huge game. Like it's incredibly daunting. And so like I'm one of those players that like needs to cross off like each checkbox. And like when I would look at the map and see all of the different things that were available to me, I wish I could just turn it all off because I didn't want to see it. Like I'm trying my best now to just try and like organically come upon some side quests and stuff like that and not to seek them out because it's not fun for me to just kind of like go someplace and be like, okay, I need to like just find this chest and then get sucked down some rabbit hole and not go towards the main storyline, which I hear is great. I'd love to play the main plot. So
Yeah, it is.
Maybe
It
one
is
day
really
you'll
good.
get to
I think Witcher 3 was one of the few open world games where I've ever done that, where I've literally just sat there, just like getting every single like a thing on the map unlocked or whatever. Because I feel like most open world, especially now when I play open world games, I'm kind of like just do the story quest. I'm not really gonna do any of the side quests. But Witcher 3 definitely unlocked that OCD part of my brain. Even though I don't know, did you get to Skellige yet, Jordan? Or
not in this playthrough.
God, you guys
I
sound like
think
such nerds.
I think
Because you get
Skellige
to Skellige.
Skellige's where the Bloody Baron is. Is that right?
no,
Or
that's like in the that's Novigrad. That's like in the beginning of the game. But Skellige is
Okay.
the one you get to later with Yennefer. But the big pain in the ass was like that Skellige is basically like mostly ocean, and there's tons of islands all over the place, and there's like all these hidden treasures that you have to unlock by basically sailing your boat out, diving in the water, finding them, and getting up. But then you do that for like 300 times in Skellige, so you have to like. It's kind of like, do you remember like? It's like I hope you really like sailing in Wind Waker, because this is basically what that is, like times 4,000. Is it's
Cool.
just it's very long. It's like yeah. But yeah, Witcher 3 I could definitely recommend you if you haven't played it. Anything else you've been playing, Jordan, or that's pretty much been it?
I did download Persona 3. I haven't touched it yet. I've
Oh,
never
okay.
actually played 3. I played 4, loved it, and I've
Yeah.
got my collector's edition on pre-order for 5. So
Yeah, I did the same thing. I played Persona 4 last year, and then I bought 3. I haven't played it yet, but I'm definitely trying to.
one?
The PSP one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so FPS, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I'm trying to play a little bit more before. I'm probably not going to get to it before Persona 5, but I am definitely looking to play more of the series, because Persona 4 is awesome. I love that game.
Persona 4 is like the one I keep wanting to knock off of my backlog finally. It's been in my backlog for probably... I started it the night the PS4 came out while I was standing in line waiting.
Okay.
So
Nice.
3.5 years. I'm never gonna beat that game.
That's another game that needs like 100. Like you basically you have to like quit your job and just play it for like a month straight, because that's another really really long game. But like I played it like early last year, and I just got addicted to it so hard. Like I could not stop playing it. So it's a lot of fun though. Especially I think if you're looking to play Persona 5, it's a good way to kind of get into the series and get familiar with it.
During those games, when those games came out, there was people that would make blogs dedicated to their lives in the game. So after every day, they would write a blog about their life in the game, like who they talked to and
Which is a cool idea. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of what drew me into the game, was that like because I was playing it a lot when I was commuting and stuff. So I'd be like, okay, I'll go to my classes during the day and like hang out with Chie, because Chie was clearly the most obvious choice for who to hook up with in the game.
Oh my God, Yukiko is best girl.
All right, this is. This is all right. We're gonna have a fight now about our.
Are you guys gonna not think about Marie? Come on, guys.
Oh,
yeah, but Marie. Yeah, but the problem with Marie is that she comes very late in the game. So like you know, by that time, you could have rolled with Rise or Yukiko or Chie.
God,
There's so many other.
Such a hottie.
I don't know. Chie is my personal favorite, so she was
really.
She was my go. Yeah.
Every time I hear Chie, I just think about Erin Fitzgerald in every single part she's ever voiced, and like she's done a lot of stuff. So I like Chie for Erin Fitzgerald, definitely.
I still have to play Persona 4 Dancing All Night. I haven't gotten to that yet, but I do want to play
so
that
good
too.
Well, that'll be your introduction into visual novels, so I suggest you do that.
Clearly, yeah. We'll just have to we'll do an Azario spoiler cast for visual novels at some point. And just let you go to town on visual novels.
I'm tired of being the only one to review them on the site, so I need to get all you guys into them.
I believe Steins Gate. Steins Gate's great.
Oh, okay.
Steins Gate is great. He's right.
Actually, since Azario, you'd probably know this best, because I've wanted to try Danganronpa, but I don't know. Is like if you play Persona, will you like? Is it a similar sort of thing, or?
Do you like Ace Attorney?
I haven't really played a lot of them, so I don't really know.
Well, Danganronpa is like a visual novel meets Ace Attorney. They have like judge or courtroom scenes where someone will kill someone and they'll have to try and get away with it, pretty much, and then you have to use evidence and stuff that you find during the classroom scenes or whatever. And I don't know, it's just super over the top. Characters are amazing, and there's a lot of death.
Apparently, yeah. So I've been told.
It's super funny though. It's really cool. I
Awesome.
suggest it's coming out for PS4. If you haven't played it, if you're interested in V3, I suggest getting the PS4. I think that's the best bang for your buck right there.
Cool. Awesome. Let's all right, so we'll move on now. And Logan, you want to go ahead and just talk about what you've been playing?
Yeah. I've been kind of similar to Jordan. I've just been kind of trying to go back and play a bunch of stuff that I've either wanted to replay for a long time or just never got around to, and I'm in a holding pattern essentially until next week with Horizon and Zelda both coming out. So I've been trying not to get too deep into anything. I've been tooling around similar to Azario with Final Fantasy 15 though. That's my first experience with Final Fantasy. About 12 hours in, it's fine, I guess. I don't know. It's all right. I feel like I need to play more of it, but I never will because Horizon, Zelda, Mass Effect over the next 4 weeks. So it's just never gonna get played probably. But these past
Logan, who's your Final Fantasy 15? I don't know. Do you call it a brofu, like a waifu, but for your guy, like
husbando?
Husbando. Who's your husbando?
What's the big dude's name?
Gladiolus?
Yeah, it's him. Yeah. I probably just because I spam his attack move the most.
Oh,
his
the
Tempest?
Yeah. I spam
dude.
the crap out of
Always use Tempest.
That's my go-to tactic move. So yeah, I use that a lot. I don't know. I feel like I didn't get far enough into the game to really become familiar with the characters too much either, because it kind of throws you into it rather quickly. Like it's just you're on the road, and which I like, but at the same time, I felt like there was something missing there, and I know they probably filled in a lot of those gaps with the anime that came out before the game and Kingsglaive. Well, Kingsglaive not as much, but
oh yeah, I think you should watch Kingsglaive because they show CG scenes from Kingsglaive in Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
But they took out the audio because they didn't have the license for it. So
wow.
Is that associated with the Chapter 13 stuff that they're trying to patch right now? Is that what that whole debacle is about?
No, you'll see it right in the beginning of the game, right when you run back to your home and you see it being destroyed. They show it around that time.
Yeah, I think I saw. I started Final Fantasy 15 like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I think I saw one of the scenes in there where it was you go back and you get to see one of the. I haven't watched Kingsglaive yet, but I assumed it was probably a scene from that.
You have no idea if you've never seen Kingsglaive. there is no chance you would have any idea what's going on. Like two big old monsters fighting, and then like the king's getting blades thrown at him. Like, what's going on? Why would you do this? That was like the first day one patch too. They patched that crap in, and they didn't need it.
I'm curious, Azario, since you've been kind of tooling around with it again. You've clearly beaten the game at this point, I assume, correct?
Yeah.
So what are you doing now? Are you starting it over and playing from the beginning, or are you just
surprisingly,
doing side quests and stuff like that?
You don't get any type of flying car or flying mechanic until you beat the game.
Yeah.
So after that, the whole world kind of opens up to you, and you can go back and do all your side quests. And they have timed events, so timed quests where. So I think they have one going now until March 7th, where you have to hunt some cactars. But they also have
I heard about that.
Moogle stuff where you can go and do like a carnival with all the Moogles and stuff. So they have reasons to go back. And on top of that, there's just a ton of stuff to do. There's a secret dungeon that's like a platformer, super crazy. Like there's this one scene where like it goes into like a limbo type of camera angle, and you have to like you're expected to like do platforming, and it's crazy. It sucks because Noctis does not know how to jump at all, and he's pretty slippery when you try and make him run around. But I don't know. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of end game material. They don't leave you hanging with that.
Yeah, and I had on paper I had wanted to finish it before next week's game's released, and I started realizing that wasn't going to happen because the game was just way too big, and I'm a completionist too. Like I'd like to get the platinum trophy and hunt all the animals or the beasts or whatever, and unlock that beast at the end or whatever, that like 2 or 3 hour boss fight that I know you can unlock towards the end of the game. And
there's an easy way to beat that guy though. You can cheese it. You can cheese it at level 55 if you want.
Yeah, so I've wanted to do all that stuff with it, but because of everything else that's coming out, I probably won't ever go back to it. Or I'll try to one day, maybe during the summer. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
until then, these past 2 days for some reason I just decided to play BioShock Infinite again because why not? I really like that game.
See, I thought you were playing it for the first time, so I was like, oh man, we should just blurt out the spoilers for the end of the game. Other than Logan's Day is like.
No, that's one of my favorite games probably of all time. But it's one of those games where I only played it once and then I didn't know if I wanted to go back to it again because my first experience with it was so special. I've done the same with The Last of Us as well. I've never gone back to The Last of Us because that first experience was like just incredible. I'm actually starting to think about going back then playing The Last of Us, and I'm trying to see if I could squeeze that in and
What did you play
The
Last of Us on first? PS3 or PS4?
PS3, yeah.
Okay.
I played it
I did.
launch.
I did the same thing, yeah. Where like I played it first time on PS3, and then when I got the remastered version for PS4, I played it again just to see, like I think it's definitely worth revisiting, especially maybe before. I mean, who knows when Part 2 is coming out, but I think it's definitely worth a revisit to check out. I might play it again at one point. We'll see.
I had originally actually played on PS3 as well, and it bricked my PlayStation 3. But
yeah, it broke my PlayStation 3 too.
But
I
yellow lighted my PS3.
There's a metaphor hidden in there somewhere. With like,
I literally had to like open up my PlayStation 3 to get the game out of it, and like it was just dead.
I had to resolder my chipset to make my PS3 work again.
Wow.
Because of The Last of Us.
I gave up on mine because I was like looking up other ways of doing it, and I just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, well, mine's like the backwards compatible one, so I couldn't let it die.
So was mine. I was I had like the 60 gig one.
Dude, I can help you. I can help you with that. We can resurrect that bad boy.
It's gone. It's over. It's
what?
Fast.
You're breaking my heart right now, Jordan.
Honestly, I'm kind of worried that Horizon might kill my PS4 because I don't know what it's been lately, but like every game that I play on my PS4, it sounds like a jet engine. It's just like gonna sound like it's gonna explode. And
there's some issues going on with PS4, like they'll just spit the disc out, or it'll get really hot and that fan will go nuts.
Yeah, mine's been doing that where so I'm just worried that like Horizon's just I'm gonna put it in, it's gonna kill my PS4. It's crazy. But yeah, and actually in the comments, Quasi Monk, a regular on the show, he said that's funny. Uncharted 3 broke mine. I had to replace the laser module. So it seems like actually the only
Naughty Dog.
Apparently Naughty Dog, Naughty Dog apparently kills consoles. I think the only time I've ever had a console die on me was my first 360, which it's a 360. They all died. Yeah. And mine was Call of Duty 2. It wasn't even like Modern Warfare. It was literally Call of Duty 2. The launch game was the one that killed it. And I think I had to do the same thing. I had to like jimmy open the disc tray so I could get the game out, and eventually I ended up doing the towel trick to bring it back to life temporarily, which was it worked. So,
man, games 10 years ago or whatever.
Games have come a long way.
Yeah.
Clearly.
No, just to revisit the replay of The Last of Us. Logan, I totally recommend you replaying it. Actually, I played it on the hardest difficulty the last time I played it, and like
that's when I
hands down like the best experience I've ever had with that game. So it really it's the best way to play it.
I'm really thinking about it. If I can beat it before Tuesday, which I think I can, then I'll try to get through it this weekend, even though I'm kind of busy. So it's just trying to figure out if I should jump into it this weekend or not. But yeah, taking it back to BioShock Infinite, I think I probably will really appreciate going back to The Last of Us, because playing BioShock again with like a fresh set of eyes and knowing how the story works and knowing the plot points that they're kind of laying throughout the story, like even from the first hour or so, and seeing like knowing what happens at the end of the game and realizing, oh shoot, they were dropping hints this early into the game about what happens. And the opening to that game, like I was just tweeting out a storm about the game the other night when I started going back into it. And I think that opening is one of the most well done beginnings to probably any game ever, because they introduce you to that world and they just establish all of the characters in that world, that all of the lore between praying to Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson and George Washington, the religions of that world, how Columbia works. Everything in that first 30 minutes is so succinctly introduced, and you know what's happening so quickly, and I don't know. Like I was just really impressed, and I'm probably biased because I love those games. Like BioShock, the original BioShock's one of my favorite games ever. But I think the introductions in those games are just superbly done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely like. I think I'd give the edge. I think a little bit more to BioShock One, just because I think especially because it was the first game to kind of introduce us to that universe. But yeah, BioShock Infinite still holds up pretty well. I remember playing. I think I played through that twice. Then I also played the. Did you play the DLCs at all? The Burial at Sea. Yeah, I think I played those like fairly recently, and those are pretty solid too.
The thing I appreciate about Infinite's intro more than I think I do even BioShock's, because I mean BioShock's intro is one of the most famous ever as well. The thing I like about Infinite though a little bit more is it allows you to breathe for like those first 30 minutes when you do get into Columbia, because when you get into Rapture, it's immediately splicers are banging on the bathysphere and they're trying to kill you. Like that's right away. I'd say you have about 30 to 40 minutes in Colombia just kind of walking around and taking everything in and seeing a barbershop quartet singing Beach Boy songs, which is just really weird.
Yeah, it was definitely a cool parallel, I think, to the original game, where like in BioShock 1 you had this like dystopian fallen city that you're seeing the remnants of, where Columbia you're still kind of in the middle of it, sort of at its peak, so you
get to witness the fall rather than coming in after the falls already
right
happened.
Yeah,
so I'm forever in love with that game, and I finished it last night. And the ending still, even though I knew what was going to happen, the ending still like made me think a whole lot. And I spent the next hour on forums looking up theories and stuff like that once again. So I don't know. I love that game, and I know the gameplay is not very good either. Like that's the thing. Those games don't objectively those games don't play very well, but the story and the worlds to them are just really unmatched, I think.
Yeah, I think my favorite memory of BioShock Infinite is still early in the game when you get the skyhook for the first time and you bash that person's face with the skyhook, and I was just like, holy shit! It was like it was just so it really it really escalated from there. But yeah, I'm curious about Prey coming out soon, because it seems to share a lot of sort of BioShock like elements. Or I mean it's closer more to System Shock, I think, but I'm excited to get that kind of game again, where it's more about exploration and sort of seeing this big, this big environment that you can really kind of get lost in and uncover more of the story.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly why I've been looking forward to Prey 2. Like as soon as I saw that trailer that they showed off at the Game Awards, I think, when they showed that off, and I started realizing how it was actually going to play, and seeing that like the enemies had hit points and things like that, it looked like it, and it had a little bit. It looked like it had more RPG mechanics than I was anticipating, and it looked really reminiscent of, like you said, System Shock, and then the original BioShock as well. So I'm super excited for Prey.
Yeah, awesome. So then, as far as games that I've been playing, I think I've been similar to you guys, where I'm kind of waiting, because I'm gonna be playing Horizon next week when that comes out, and hopefully I'll have a Switch at launch. I'm waiting to see, but I think I'll be good. So I've got Zelda and Horizon coming, which I'm gonna just shut myself in a room for a week and not play anything play anything else. Before that, I've been playing For Honor for review, so I should have that probably going up by the end by Friday. So I don't know if you guys have played any of For Honor at all or anything, or seen much of it, but it's an interesting game. It kind of combines a lot of elements of sort of a fighting game with an action game and a little bit of a strategy game, sort of. But the basic idea being that it's a very sort of melee-focused multiplayer game. It's the fighting system, I think, is like definitely the most intriguing part of that game. Is it's really cool, and I think they've done something really interesting with melee combat that we haven't really seen from a lot of other games, especially third person sort of melee combat.
Well, that's saying that, especially Ubisoft, this is kind of like different for Ubisoft to do. Like
it is a very different
Ubisoft game.
Yeah, it is very much, it's a nice change of pace from Ubisoft's typical games they've done more recently. Like, it's not Far Cry, it's not Watch Dogs, it's not Assassin's Creed, it's not this sort. Although the combat actually, I think, kind of shares some similarities with Assassin's Creed a little bit. But that it's a very linear, multiplayer-focused game rather than this like giant, massive open world game and everything. It's just been interesting playing For Honor, because the first time I played the game was at a preview event in December in San Francisco. And I was not very good at the game. I died quite a lot. You could actually, there's plenty of gameplay videos where I just get my ass handed to me. I think it's one of those games that is not necessarily like I think the combat system is fairly easy to grasp at first, but it's a game that definitely has I think a high sort of skill ceiling where in order to kind of get how the combat works, because basically what you have is that you have your character can do sort of three different stances. They can do they can do left, right, or top. And there's this sort of diagram that shows where you're attacking, but then also where your enemy's attacking, so you can see where their hit's going to come from. So you can either block it or parry and do a bunch of things. So the combat system at first is pretty simple, but the sort of layers they add on top of that are really interesting because you get light attacks that are quick but don't do a lot of damage, or you have heavy attacks that'll be slower but they'll do more damage, but they can be blocked more easily and things like that. So it almost plays kind of like a very elaborate game of like rock paper scissors, kind of is sort of the comparison I make. But yeah, I liked it a lot so far. I played the single player, which is I mean, not it, like I sort of the way I put it is it's sort of like a 6-hour tutorial for the multiplayer. It doesn't really have like a super in-depth story. It's pretty simple, but I think as a as sort of a way to get into the multiplayer and kind of learn the ropes of combat, it's a pretty good tutorial for that and gets you familiar with that.
I'm scared that this game is going to be kind of disappear with all these new releases coming out. Like
it is coming out in a busy time of the year. I think we'll have to wait and see. It's only been out for about 2 weeks, or not even that a week. But I think we'll have to see what the community around it is like. I think one of the best things it has going for it is because it's just such a different, kind of unique multiplayer experience from everything
else. It's gonna
else,
feel some kind of niche in the
I think it's
definitely.
I think it's not necessarily going to be a game that has like a huge audience. Like I'm sure there's probably going to be a big drop off within a month or two, but I think there is going to be a pretty niche, or not necessarily niche, but just like a very small dedicated group that plays this game, which is a good thing. That I think there will be a passionate community around it. But I also think, at least from what I've seen already, I feel like there's already going to be some exploits that people use. Like they'll find like the very specific combos that'll just
they're gonna need to balance it out.
The combos that the combos that you're just not going to be able to do anything against because someone's like perfectly nailed down like how to pull them off. But I think we'll see. They're doing a lot of free content. They're going to be giving away. They're going to be giving out new maps, characters, things like that. Although I think at the offset of that, there's very aggressive microtransactions in the game, where they basically have. I haven't played it, but I think the system is pretty similar to Rainbow Six Vegas, where you unlock steel is the in-game currency, which then you buy basically loot boxes, and then you get like different items and things you can unlock for your character. But I think for Honor, it's just because there's so many different items you can unlock, because it's not even just like weapons and armor and things like that. You get weapon hilts, you get weapon blades. Like it's just like there's a ton of little unlocks that you can get. So I remember seeing an article online being like you'd have to spend hundreds of dollars to actually unlock all of the. If you just bought loot boxes and everything, you'd spend like $700 or $800 on all the microtransactions. It's a lot. So I think it's definitely a system that feels more like a free to play game rather than like a $60 $60 game. So I think that's kind of unfortunate that like there's just so much of the game is kind of locked behind microtransactions and paywalls. Because I looked at the in-game store for the steel bundles you can get. And I think they ranged from like $5 for 5,000 steel, and then you can spend $100 for 150,000 steel, which is just like, I'm like, no thanks, I'm good, guys. Like.
Well, I remember when like Battlefield 4. I haven't played a Battlefield game since 4 came out, but like, so it might still be the same way. But they had like the premium, like membership programs and stuff like that. Like you could spend so much a month in order to be like a premium member, and like it's a $60 game. Like I don't understand why this is happening. Why they're using these free to pay models on these AAA experiences.
See, I think it's more of like if. I guess it's more for the people that like are going to basically play Battlefield like all the time. Like that basically if that's like the only game they get and they're gonna really put their time into it and stuff like that, then I can see the value in it. I don't really see that necessarily from something like For Honor because ultimately I might play it for a couple more weeks, but ultimately I'm just gonna move on to the next thing pretty much.
I don't even think that's what they're looking for with these microtransactions. They do care about the user that continuously comes back, but they also kind of bank on the user that plays it once, really likes it, buys a bunch of crap, and then never returns to it. But still, they made all that money. Plus,
Yeah.
they need to find a way to bank in on the used games. So when you buy a used game, Ubisoft never sees any of that money.
Sure.
But you can still buy these microtransactions, so maybe they can see a little return even if they sell a used copy here and there. It's a bad market. I feel like it's a bad market. I hate microtransactions. This is coming from me, who will buy a bathing suit DLC for $12.99. So I mean, fuck me, right? Don't listen to me.
I mean, I get it. I completely understand like why they're doing it. Like, I guess why isn't really the question. The question is, why is this becoming more prevalent in these AAA experiences? And I think that's unfortunate.
Yeah. I think it's just a bummer that, we're seeing that in like such a, in a pretty high profile $60 game. And then, to unlock everything, you're going to have to spend, $700 or $800. So I think it's just, and usually some games I don't really have as much of a problem with it if it's something like Overwatch, because Overwatch, pretty much everything is cosmetic and just changes how you look. But I think with For Honor, it's because, everything, all the items and stuff you unlock do have different benefits, and they could change your play style a little bit. So I think that it's more that, because like the things you're unlocking have a tangible effect on the gameplay versus they're not just for looks. Is sort of what I'm disappointed in.
Well, speaking of Overwatch, like the one thing I will commend about Blizzard is that even if you don't put a penny into that game, you can still get certain cosmetic upgrades and things like that. Is it the same with For Honor, or do you have to obviously just straight up spend money on it if you want some of this stuff?
Say that again. Sorry, Logan.
Can you not hear me?
No, I can hear you. Sorry, I need the.
Overwatch has like you can unlock a bunch of cosmetic different skins and stuff for your characters and stuff like that in Overwatch. But is it the same in For Honor? Like, is there an in-game currency that you can unlock to buy this stuff, or is it straight up you have to spend cash on it?
There is. So steel is the main currency that you use for everything to unlock items and things like that. You could use it to buy things individually, or you can buy basically loot boxes that'll unlock I think it's 5 random items, and you're guaranteed, I think, to get like 2 rare ones or something like that. So basically, when the only thing you're doing with your real money is that you can buy steel bundles. So basically, you could buy, it's like $5 for 5,000 steel, and then there's a bunch of different tiers in between there. So
it's like mobile games where you can
buy
5,000 gems or orbs or whatever the heck game you're playing. Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Yeah, but then as far as the items go, like they do change your cosmetics, but they also each of the items has different stats in like strength, stamina, speed, like things like that. They're balanced in a way that it's not so much that items are better than one another, it's just they're balanced differently. So an item might have like really high strength, but then really low stamina. So that's geared more towards if you're playing a character that's going to be like a heavy damage dealer, but not necessarily be fast. So I think it's that it avoids being like a pay to win model where like, oh, they paid more money, so they've got all like the amazing gear. Like everything's still pretty well balanced, but I think it's just that, especially in the beginning of the game, you don't have as much room to customize and experiment because you have less things versus someone that's been playing a while or spends a lot of money and they get access to all these different items that they can kind of change and customize and play around with their characters a bit more. So I think that's where my issues with the game and its microtransaction systems kind of fall into place.
Is it something worth trying out? Because I've been really interested in this game for a while, and I probably should have jumped in on the beta when that was a thing.
Well,
but I totally spaced when that happened, but I just don't know if it's for me or not.
Yeah, that's what sucks for someone like me and you, Logan, who haven't jumped in the game. We're gonna jump in the game in 2 or 3, 4 months, and everyone's gonna already have all this crap unlocked, and we're gonna come into a game where this meta is already created. We're the outcasts. We're just gonna lose. We're just gonna...
we don't know the control. We're still trying to get a handle on the controls.
Wiped out. That's the problem I see with this game, is that kind of pay to win or upgrade your stuff, but when newcomers come in, it's gonna be like,
not very accessible.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's the thing with most, sort of multiplayer only games like that. And I don't think For Honor is necessarily going to be any different than that. It's pretty much a multiplayer focused experience. There is some there that is cool, like you have the single player campaign. I think pretty much most, or if not all, the multiplayer modes you can play against bots. So if you want to practice or just kind of learn the ropes of the gameplay types, you can go in there and not get your ass kicked by players that are going to be way better than you, and B, just so you can kind of get more practice and sort of learn the ropes of the games and things like that, which is cool. But I think the real meat of the experience is going to be playing against other people, for better or worse, whether you're into that or not. I wouldn't really recommend it as like a single player game, especially because the game's online only. So no matter what, you're going to be online when you play it. Just to pull a couple. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I think I was going to say what you were going to say. I think Dalo brings up a good topic where Zelda having a season pass does seem pretty weird. If you guys have heard about it, like you get a T-shirt with the Switch logo.
I think Dalo in the comments, he said something. He said, "I put $0 to Uncharted 4 online. I've unlocked cool stuff to wear." I did hear about that though with the Switch costume. Is that I think it would be funny too, because I remember in the trailer there's that one scene that's like really serious in the rain with Zelda like crying on Link's shoulder. I just can't imagine that scene with him wearing like a goofy like Switch shirt as she's like crying on his shoulders. Like it'll be a little weird. But
yeah, it's a little much. It kind of takes you out of the experience too, I feel. That being like the Switch, and you're not even in the world anymore, so you're not even looking around Hyrule. You're like in America or Japan, just hanging out with your Switch.
The next Zelda game's gonna be like
that's what I hated most about Final Fantasy 15 is that the fucking cup noodles crap and the Coleman stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's too much.
I feel like the only really egregious in-game advertising I've ever seen was Alan Wake. I think they had advertisements for like Verizon and things like that in there that were just so out of place. They were really just weird. There was something else too. I forget.
Was there Duracell batteries in that game?
I think so. I think that the batteries
were
maybe. I don't remember. But I remember there was a point where there was like you're like going down a highway and then there's like a Verizon billboard just out of nowhere or something like that. I don't remember.
I really wish I could be in on those meetings where they decide how much they have to pay for that advertisement. Because it's got to be a huge amount of money.
Is the camera going to slow and pan to the billboard, or is it just going to kind of like follow the car?
Like you have to specifically state how you're going to advertise. Like in Final Fantasy 15, there is a couple noodles quest, and it is a very long quest. It is not even. It's not even a short quest. It's like you have to find the best item for your cup to add to your cup noodle, but you have to climb this huge mountain to get to it. It's ridiculous. And then Gladios eats it.
It's not even worth it.
Yeah, it's not. It is not. You get cup of noodles. That's all you get.
Exactly. So just to pull a couple quick comments here before we start wrapping up. Quasi Monk says, "Yeah, I'd rather have games be $70 than this microtransactions, DLC BS instead of true expansions not cut from the game." I mean, I feel a lot of people feel that way as well. I think the DLC thing is just it's sort of one of those things that we kind of have to live with now. Like that's just a part of games, and especially for multiplayer only games. So.
I like the Destiny DLC. I like the way Destiny kind of did it, whereas every 8 months or so you got something. I like games that do that. I think Witcher Blood and Wine, I thought that like I've heard a lot of good things about that DLC. So there are DLCs that feel like brand new games in this world that you paid for. So maybe you're not going to get a new Witcher every 2 years or annualized, but you will get this self-contained story within a game that you already bought. And I think DLC like that is totally acceptable, and I wouldn't mind paying for it,
Yeah, I think when you get DLC that expands, the experience that you've already gotten versus DLC that's used as like, oh, this is content that we cut from the game and are charging for separately, or are artificially sort of trying to make more money off of the game. I think it's just it depends on how they sort of position it. So Jordan, you were gonna say something? Or
I was just gonna say, I mean, it depends heavily, I think, on when it releases. I mean, like this is something where I buy a game and like before I even get to the end of the campaign, like there's a new piece of DLC out. Like that feels to me, even though it might not be the case, feels to me like it was something that might have been cut or something that the developers were so rushed that they weren't able to get it out. But like if it's continuing an experience that I've already paid for, and like it's asking me to pay a little bit more in order to continue that experience that I enjoyed, then I have no problem with that.
Yeah, for sure. And Dalo actually pointed out in the comments saying Bloodborne: The Old Hunters is my gold standard DLC. Also another really good one. So good, in fact, that I haven't finished it because it's really hard.
Oh my god, it's so good.
The problem I get with Bloodborne is that it's so beautiful. Like I take everything so slowly in it because I just want to look at everything in that game. It is so well made.
I have never walked so much in a video game before.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not only just because everything's pretty, but because I was waiting for something to pop out of me.
Yeah. You just die real quick.
Yeah. All right. I think we're going to start wrapping up from there. So really quickly, we'll just go through the new releases. Not a ton coming out, but there's a lot of big stuff here. So
quality over quantity.
This is a quality over quantity week, that's for sure. Especially with the Switch coming out next week, which is going to be a big week, and Horizon as well. So for this week, some of the releases we've had: Berserk and the Band of the Hawk on PS4, PS Vita, and Windows. I didn't know that was on Vita, which is interesting. Berserk.
Yeah.
Did you play it on Vita, Azario?
I played it on PS4. I have not played it on Vita. I'm kind of scared to play it on
I wonder how it runs on Vita. Yeah.
I'd be curious.
I'm sure it'll run okay. I mean, it's not that heavy of a game. I just imagine less enemies on the screen at once.
Yeah. Then we've also got Halo Wars 2 for Xbox One and PC, East Origin for PS4, and then next week we've got Horizon Zero Dawn on PS4, Torment, Tides of Numenera. Sorry, I was getting a little tongue twisted on that. PS4, Xbox One, and Windows. Constructor HD on PS4, Xbox One, and Windows. And then Night in the Woods for PS4, Mac, Linux, and Windows. I think that's out already. I think
that's out. I'm pretty sure.
For some reason on Wikipedia it says TBA, but I'm pretty sure that's out. Really cool game. I've checked that out at a couple preview events. So if you're looking for a cool new indie game to check out, that's definitely, I think, the one to try. It's been in development for a while and it looks really cool. All right, so we're gonna close out.
Also, Story of Seasons Trio of Towns comes out next week.
Thank you, Azario, for just butting in there. I was trying to close out the show.
On the 3DS.
Exactly. All right. So at this point, I'm just going to be like, yes, Azario, just whatever. Shut up. Fine. All right, so if you're looking for us, a couple quick site plugs, actually. Our Horizon Zero Dawn review just went up today from Giuseppe, who gave it a very rare perfect 10 out of 10. So you could read that. That's up there. I'm trying to think. Azario had a couple reviews go up, the East Origin and Berserk reviews that you could check out. Jordan had a really cool feature on the Portland Indie Game Squad that you could check out. It looked really cool. Logan did things, I'm sure.
I wrote some stuff. It's somewhere else.
Definitely wrote some stuff.
And then as far as stuff I have coming up, I'll have my For Honor review coming up probably tomorrow or probably Friday. And I'll have another interview coming up as well with Use Your Words, which is a party game that's going to be coming out within the next month or so. So that interview will be coming up pretty soon. So just to do some plugs, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at DualShockers. On Twitch, YouTube, you can find us at DSTV Originals for all our cool videos that we do, like this one. Super cool. And then for our Twitch streams like this one, you can find us at twitch.tv/DualShockers Live. We record the ShockCast every Wednesday night, or most Wednesday nights, when we remember. Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So we're signing out here. Thanks, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.